Well, good morning. And do you remember me? It's been, what, I think 3 months since I've done a video. Most of you that follow me know that I just moved from the Washington, D.C. area in Northern Virginia down to Knoxville, Tennessee. And I lived there for 40 years, worked for the government as a contractor. And I had a lot of stuff to pare down and parse out and move. And then I moved my entire studio. And in this video, just as a little side note, it's my birthday today, and my birthday gift to myself is to get back and say hello to you all. I missed you all, and I share with you a video tour of my studio. I have a lot more room here, and I explain all that in the video, so I won't spend the time here. But I really love the studio down here, but it took me a while to set it up at my house. And so I also do a demo of a couple paintings, and here's one. And very loose. That's a painting of kind of an inspiration from some flowers for my birthday. And then another painting, and that one I struggled with, and I think it just depicts not painting for 3 months and how I strongly feel that you have a muscle memory in your painting. A lot of things come back to you, and that's what happened. But then I also struggle with just getting loose again. And the second painting, I left it in the video so you could see how sometimes not painting for a while you do struggle. So anyway, I've got a cup of coffee, so get a cup of coffee, enjoy the tour of my studio. If you want to fast forward to the painting part, feel free. But it's so good to be back. I missed everyone, and I loved all the well wishes and checkups from so many of you. And it's just good to be back with all of you that support my channel and watch the hours that you did even while I was gone. And I gained quite a bit of followers while I was moving, which was nice. So a lot of you are new, but let's jump in. If I didn't say my name, I'm Cheryl Wilson. I'm an abstract artist, and let's just jump into the tour and the painting. Well, hello everyone. It's been a while since I have done a YouTube video, and as you can see, my studio has changed drastically because I'm no longer in the Washington, D.C. area. I am now in Knoxville, Tennessee. After living in the Washington, D.C. area for over 40 years, that move was rough. As we go along in further videos, I'll tell you some of the things that thought for a while though Tennessee didn't want me, but I am a tough gal, and I fought and got my driver's license, got the house, everything, and I moved in. So this is my studio, and I've set it up. A lot of the things are kind of the same as they used to be. The big table in the middle there with all my paint underneath. I have a lot more room. And I kept the stands. They were in a couple different places in my old studio, but I brought them all together here. So I just love the space. I love this little nook back here where it's only maybe 12 inches and I can put my books. I even brought my printer to the studio instead of having it in a different room. But the nice thing about the studio is I have this extra area here that my husband has allowed me to use. It's the whole downstairs of my house. So I have my own art bathroom. I fixed it up kind of cute, so if you come visit me, it's just, its own little space down here. Instead of having an outside storage, I have all my paintings now, with a lot of other art from my house, from different parts of the world, from my mom, and here. And then I have, this is really a part that sold me on the house, is the lady who used to have this area had a studio of her own, and she left those wooden shelving, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to be creating a lot of art here. I have a new series coming up based off that statue in the back there, the woman with the butterflies. So here's to having you back in my life. I wanted to share with you a couple special parts of the studio. This is the space here that I'm hoping to be the backdrop where I talk about the upcoming videos, some of my favorite paintings that I've done, and then that bust. And she came into my life because I saw her, and she just was the perfect symbol for my new series, which I'll talk about later. But I got her as a birthday present to myself. So then as you walk in the door, I have this little hook here where I hang all my art shirts and some smocks, and some of the paintings I did as like self-portraits, which I try to do one a year. And I have the refrigerator there, which I'm so fortunate for. I have a coffee pot, a refrigerator, a complete setup down here. Then as you can see, I have this cute little nook that is in the corner that I can put all my little pottery, some of my favorite little tiny paintings, and just there's some cloths down there that I've made, and I think I did a video on that. Just some special things that mean a lot to me. And whenever I need inspiration, I actually just look at those shells because they themselves just give me a ton of inspiration. But this new space has just invigorated me even more in my life. This is the mantle above a fireplace. Yes, I have a fireplace with a lot of firewood for the winter. Don't know how cold Knoxville gets, so I guess I'll see. But a lot of my special things that meant a lot to me in my DC area, I brought with me. And I can't wait to do some painting and some demos with you, and talk about my future series I'm going to do. But anyway, this has been a long introduction, but I'm going to do that uh, floral painting in the back. And another one, we'll talk about the other one. I'm not as pleased, but I love this little floral. It's a painting of the birthday flowers that I got for myself there. So let's jump right into the video. As always, I am so excited. Okay, so here's the two paintings we're going to jump in and paint. And you can tell one, the very loose ones, I really like that. The other I struggled with, and I kept it in there because this is a perfect example of when you struggle with a painting. And I haven't painted in 3 months. And I needed to stay the loose like I was on you could really tell that I had a lot of fun with it. The other you'll see me struggling with, but that's what happens. Not every painting turns out. So let's jump in and let's talk a little bit about some of the colors I used. So right up front, let me just apologize a little bit for the lighting. I'm trying to get used to the new studio and the lighting, and I played for I think a day with the lighting. So if you see some lighting that is reflecting, I'm going to just keep working. So I grabbed a handful of tools. I wasn't sure what I'd end up using. I grabbed a bunch of paint, my shop towels. I put down 2 pieces of paper, and those are just like Canson watercolor paper, very cheap, because I knew I haven't painted in a while. and they're just assorted colors. And I used a bouquet of flowers that I picked up for myself for my birthday, and you can use mainly when I paint, I just use my imagination. I use what's in my soul. I use maybe memory of flowers. I don't use a vase of flowers that I've have in front of me or a reference. I just don't. I paint very loosely, but I kind of use this as a reference, and it was fun. So you can or cannot grab a reference if you want. I just grabbed a bunch of brushes, all sorted sizes. I like really rough brushes, so you can see some are very rough because they really give a lot of texture. And I like that because the more texture, the more I guess that you're not in control of your painting. So I just enjoy having different brushes, and the rougher the better. I am pulling out my paints, and some of these I have not used in a while. Um, and I promised at some point I'll tell you how I got all my paints here because the packers would not take them, but um, someone told me a trick and it worked, and I'll talk about that maybe in another video. But some of them have clogged tops, so you'll see me working really hard to get some of my paints out there. And I'm picking, there's like a phthalo blue there. That's like a type of a yellow. I grabbed a teal, and that comes in handy with the second painting at the very end. And then I grabbed a cerulean blue, and those are all the cool colors, not the yellow. The blue's the cools. I always throw down some different darks. You can see me test there. I didn't know if that was a black or a blue, but I always throw down black and white, and almost always those are golden high flows, the blacks and whites, because I mix them a lot. I don't always use colors. In fact, I rarely use colors right out of the tube. Most of the time, if you're painting and the colors that you pull out of the tube are all the same tone or the same in the middle, if you have a scale of light to dark, the colors that come out of your tube are usually in the middle. So if you're not mixing in some light or dark or mixing the colors together, your painting's going to have a good chunk right there in the middle of that value scale, and you're going to wonder what's wrong, why you're missing some of the darks and some of the light colors, and that really makes a dynamic difference in your paintings. I'm going to fast forward here because you can see I am working hard on getting some of my paint out of the tubes because they've been clogged for 3 or 4. So now I'm back, and I decided on the one side to paint the whole background a solid color. Now this was the painting that I had the most trouble with. But, like I said, I kept it in here. I didn't delete it out of the video. But I painted the whole background a solid color. And the other one, I started the painting with just the loose flowers. You'll see me paint. I always like to use a shop towel to push down the paint. Now, this is a very cheap watercolor paper. The paint always goes on different whether you're using a nice watercolor paper, a mixed media sheet. It's a little bit different, but I like to have the different texture, so you can see how even though I've put the paint down and mushed it down with a shop towel, I keep a little bit different tones going on there. Then I grabbed the Pyrrole Red and a Pyrrole Orange in the high flow. And I am going to paint very loose, and you'll see me mix some of those together. There's a, what is that, a light, I'll put the name down of that. I think in the very beginning I had a list of all the names. but I use a magenta, quinacridone magenta, some of the same colors that I use over and over again in most of my paintings. So I'm grabbing a different painting. You see that one paintbrush has the tip on the end. That came into play at the very end, which was great. There's one there that is kind of like a slanted. There's a big brush that I start out with. I think the bigger the brush, the looser. And that's what I started out with. And you can see me grab some of the orange and some of the red. And I'm mixing in some of the white. And then a tad of yellow to kind of give different flavors or different values of the colors. And I'm just very loosely holding the brush, not on the normal way that you would paint, so I can keep loose. And that's what really worked with this painting. The other painting, I don't know. We'll see, because I kind of forget how I held the brush, but maybe we'll see I held it a little thicker. A little tighter, firmer. You'll see I added in a little bit of blue with my red. That helps give a different, darker tone whenever you do that. And that's what you want. You want on the value scale darks and lights. So again, I'm mixing the colors, so I'm not keeping it all straight from the bottle, which helps with the not keeping the middle of the values in the painting. I'm getting a good mixture of lights and darks. I'm trying to keep the buds of the flower, although this is very abstract, going in different directions. That one there on the left is facing the left. The one on the very top is kind of facing upward, and this one, I'm not quite sure where this one's going to go, but now I'm adding in some of the blue right on the tip of my brush so that it slightly blends in and gives me some good tones. But I'm staying as loose as I possibly can. Now I grabbed a smaller brush and some of the magenta and some of the orange. And I'm just, again, staying very, very loose. You can see each flower, I'm dipping into a little bit different color of the paint. So each flower is not the same. It's a good blend of each of the colors. Okay, so now I've started on the second painting, and I'm gonna fast forward this because I use some of the same colors. Um, I'm not quite sure why I don't like this one as much as I do the other, but I lost my way, and I think maybe I stayed too much with the same tones. Um, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to fast forward this and you'll see how it goes through a couple iterations. And I don't know, you can tell me what you think about the tune, what you like the best. So I let this dry. And what I did is I went to the computer, I took a picture of it, and I printed it out, and then I kind of just drew on it to see if with some additional light green on the stems, maybe I'd like it even better. So sometimes that helps. Bring it into a document and printing it out and playing with it, and then using some pencils or even additional paint. And so I decided I needed to darken up the flowers a little bit. Oh, you can tell one of the flowers I took out on the lower left. And I like that. I like it better. I like having an odd number. For some reason, that tends to visually, in my opinion, look better. So I'm going to fast forward, put this on speed, and just see where this takes me and see if I can get this looking any better. I know now, when I look back at this, when I'm putting this video together, what happened with my flowers, and you can look at that, there are no variations. They're basically the same color. There's some dark in there, but there's no variations. I'm done with the painting now. I don't really want to go back and play with it anymore, but what needs to happen, like in the first one, there's a lot more lights and there's a lot more darks. And you can even see me in the next clip. You see me go and try to lighten up the background. But that's what the problem with this painting is, there's really no values. It's all basically the same like level of of value in here. That's the problem. So I needed to do this. I needed to go through it. And here is me trying to go in and figure out how to remedy this. I'm adding a lighter background, which I do like. And the flowers are okay. I'm not going to say I hate the painting, but it's not one of my favorites. So, lesson learned. The first one is very loose, and the second one is I missed the lesson of the values in the paintings, and I can see that now. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the tour of my studio and the two paintings that I did. And if you lasted to the very end, thank you so much again for being a part of my life. You're a very special part of my life. And just thank you for being here. So say hi, tell me what you're doing today, and just take care of yourself till next time.